side of HBA. So there was some. Okay, hold on. That did get locked.
Oh my
That is
god.
a Teemo top. Okay, I just needed to make sure that production wasn't trolling us. No, that's real. All right, so take everything off the table. Let's talk about this. Teemo now going in for the side of New Valley, and there is also a Vladimir they lock in on. So the second they saw the Ramus, AP heavy composition, right? Magic damage heavy composition coming in from the side of New Valley. But I'm very, very interested to see what happens from here. Obnoxious to deal with.
Absolutely obnoxious. I think there is one thing that I do want to point out before we start heading into game number 2 here. You can see both teams starting to scatter across Summoner's Rift. Is the damage composition that happens on the top side for each of these compositions. You have Teemo, Diana, Vladimir. They're all magic damage, meaning you could build that magic resist and kind of stack it up. And then you don't really have to worry about it too much. You can itemize that with your boots, and that's pretty finished. On the other side, Mordekaiser Ramus, yes, they're both AP, but the Renekton is AD. So that jungle mid-duel makes it a lot more difficult to itemize against. I'm interested to see what build Teemo is going to go for. You can see the Grasp of the Undying, opting in for a bit tankier type of style, but we've seen the Riftmaker, we've seen Kraken Slayers, we've seen Leandries. Teemo is a very flexible champion, and I think that's what makes him very broken in the niche sense, even though a bit irrelevant, a bit outdated, but still very good in modern days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's something to look at. Of that trade potential now, very, very heavily in favor of Honu Warrior up in the top side. Another thing I want to point out, though, Dark Seal and the Predator for the side of Gru's XP4 in the mid lane. The man playing with confidence here going into game number 2. I think the swap may be coming from some idea that he wants to have the game in his hands, right? He wants to have the team on his shoulders as he carries them and lifts them to potential map 3. But we'll see what ends up happening because the rest of the squad, I mean, overall, you'd like to think that New Valley has a lot more of the pressure in this early game.
We don't know if the roster swap was a decision on the player's part or on the coach's part. It could be a little bit of both, but Gruz, you're putting yourself in the carry position, right? You were a tank, you opted to be a tank for game number 1. Now you're opting to be a carry for game number 2. If you're not feeling it now, you're not going to be feeling it ever. This is going to be the end of your tournament run here if you lose this game. So there's a lot of pressure, in a sense, riding onto this Vladimir's back. And so taking the Predator, taking the Dark Seal, hoping to farm, hoping to stack up, hoping to be very relevant very soon. I mean, I think Vladimir has a lot of lane priority and better sustained than the Renekton in lane, and that could lead to very early roams potentially. You do still have to buy the boots before you get the Predator buff, but that could be something you first back really quickly for. We've been seeing a lot of it with the Predator rune.
Yeah, you absolutely could. I mean, the ability to just get in there and go as fast as he needs to be, and with the Ghost as well, right? That is a Vladimir that can get onto your backline with almost no problem. As so far, so good. I mean, overall, it's a repeat of last game where the early game aggression, the early game pressure coming out from the side of New Valley, right? Insane Wrath is able to really put the hurt down, landing, oh, great double volley. He's farming well, he's doing a lot. And it really was the pressure that ICB applies in return, in response to that, that really kind of gave HBA the advantage that they were looking for down on the bottom side of the map. This time around, I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to repeat that or if that's going to change because, I mean, look at this. Oh, dry puffin.
That's tough.
Yeah, he burned the heal as well just because he's, he wants to stay in lane a little bit longer out of charges on that rejuvenation potion. So he's going to have a little bit of a tough time. But now in the jungle, actually in the river, ICB and Turtle find themselves in a little bit of a damage duel. Turtle pops the shield, gets some damage back across. Honu Warrior on the side, but ICB, has he overcommitted? No, he's just going to back up for now. But, I mean, Turtle, yeah, I mean, I think just finds him in a weird spot. Yes, the Scuttle Crab went to Turtle, though, so keep that in mind. Does have a slight gold advantage to himself. Should be able to back, should be able to buy.
And with the new smite, you can't really smite out the opponent until you redeem 20 of those snacks now for your jungle pet. So ICB not able to capitalize on it too much. This is going to be Mocha at pushing the advantage, but not going to be able to do too much. You don't want to fight into a wave, especially with the cannon still alive. I think that's going to be a cannon denial now because of that aggression. So Going to be a little bit of an advantage for Gruz. You could know he's got to be feeling it. Melee into range. All of the eggs are in his basket. Let's just say that right now for the time being. And New Valley pressing that CS lead that we saw in game number 1. They're killing minions faster than HBA. You can already see 1,000 gold in the lead just purely off of minions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is what we were talking about last game, right? In a game where HBA doesn't get that early advantage, New Valley should be pulling ahead of the gold, right? They were showing in the last game and in this game that they are better at farming. But also worth noting, right, the characters they drafted inherently will be stronger in this early game. They are going to be a little bit more of a pain in the butt to deal with because of the idea that they're both ranged. They both have great sustain. They both have ways of denying you the ability to approach the wave. I mean, and we're seeing in the top side, Mordekaiser just not able to really get to the wave. That's why it's a double CS lead in the top side for Honu Warrior. Same story in the mid lane for Gruz.
Same story as is. A lot less fighting than we saw in game number 1. Definitely the lack of a horse running at you at Mach 5 does reduce the amount of fights happening, especially in the bot lane. I don't think they've had 6 minutes of peace the entire game last game, but they get to have it here. And we're kind of just seeing the items coming around. The Ram is starting with that Bramble Vest, very typical, but...
Oh, great root, great snare from the side of Cypher. Is now actually
Diana
ICB
from behind,
goes
though.
in, but Diana's on the backside. Yeah, they're not quite able to get it around the turret. But now will Turtle look to continue this fight? So far, so good. He has been spotted, so they will back it up for now. They don't end up going for the fight. They don't end up getting anything else. But ICB's first gank, not able to get a result this time around.
Not able to get any results, but definitely took Turtle's attention right there. You could see Turtle was probably pathing towards the next camp or whatever. Had to take a detour into that bot side, so pretty much wasted about the same amount of time as the Rammus. You heard Summoner heal being procced by Coconut actually on that bottom side. So a double heal bot lane here. Have to be really careful not to expend it rapidly, right back and forth, so that you get maximum heal value as needed. I think they're kind of using it not as a last resort, but if they see themselves low in the lane, they will press it as a little bit of a health pack, if you will.
Yeah, healthy indeed. All right, now let's take stock of the rest of the situation here, because if we're looking at it now, ICB, once he really gets to that level 6 mark, that's when I think we'd expect to see him start to be a little bit more aggressive, right? Get a little bit more pressure down on the map. It's just a matter of how much longer is it going to take him, because he has been double scuttled twice, or at the beginning he lost out on the neutral objectives in the scuttle crowds. Is now Gruz in a little bit of a weird spot, does get stunned up. There's the flash, there's the taunt, and that means he's going to lose a little bit of damage, but he does just pull out. Burns the ghost as well. Might be looking to re-engage. No, instead just backs it up for now. But okay. So Gruz, I mean, still, even though he loses both of his summoners there, still building himself a solid CS lead up in that mid side, and it's really the solo laners trying to just struggle to stay afloat right now, right? They're in a tough spot. They know that they'll get stronger once they have the all-in potential. They just need to get to that point, and until then, it's going to be a rough time.
Gruz playing it a bit incredibly safe, a bit excessively safe, I would even say, having to burn both summons there. You still had the pool available, you still had the ultimate available. There were a lot of ways for you to sustain back to a healthy state without needing to burn either of your summoners, but I can understand that, you know, you're match point, you're a little behind, you're the carry, it's all on you kind of deal, so there's a bit of pressure and you definitely do want to play it safe, but there is a difference between playing it safe and panicking a little there, so a little bit warning for that side, but HBA, they're going to get the inroads into this Rift Herald, but now without Turtle providing some poke. Possible for either side to steal, but Turtle actually doesn't have a smite.
Yeah, Turtle goes in, gets them locked up. Hone Warriors here on the side, but instead they're going to lock him into the Shadow Realm. It will be the Rift Herald going over to ICB, but they don't know how low the Mordekaiser is in the ult. Hone Warrior not able to do it. That's first blood. He should be able to not. Actually, he doesn't have flash, so they have to go for the fight. The taunt is there. HBA gets the damage. There's a shroom. The damage is there. Can they chase? No. Instead, the blind, the poison, the tick, the auto. He gets it back. It's a 1-for-1, and Chana Crystal Arrow goes wide, but it's okay. HBA, they're still happy with that. They get the Rift Herald, they get a kill. Yes, they trade one back, but still, overall advantage HBA.
Teemo on the board, mental diff time. You already know it. HBA, they did get the Rift Herald. The eye was actually the thing that secured it. Both junglers were without a smite at some point in that. So, you know, Diana being taken into the realm, meaning you couldn't hit the eye, and so the Rammus was able to secure it. The Rift Herald in ICB's pockets now. Both of them with the Rainbow Smite, so dealing 900 smite damage on top of the fact that you can now smite enemy champions with that. And Honu Warrior, look at that lead extending further and further. 2 plates already down at 10 minutes. Has excellent wave clear with the Shroom, and that huge wave collapsing in.
Yeah, I mean, that's just huge waves. I mean, you think about it, actually hold that thought as there goes the Encore. The damage is there. Cypher taking low. Turtle's in the river. Final Spark's not going to connect either. They're just going to get some more damage across. Binding not going to land as well. Dry Puffin very, very low. Enchanted Crystal Arrow almost up. Oh. Meanwhile, in the top side, ICB does go up there and get a return kill for their top laner. A little bit of a revenge now, but it's the bottom side that's the focus right now. Because of that fight, because of that trade, yes, ICB got the Rift Herald, but this time around, it's Turtle who gets to pick up the dragon.
Turtle gets the dragon, and it's going to be a little bit of trade. You can see this quite a bit on Summoner's Rift. There's a lot of trading back and forth. Usually that is what that happens. Blue team, New Valley, they're opting in for some stats, hopefully to shape them out in the late game. HBA are opting for a lot of money to be putting in that Mordekaiser's pocket to keep up with that Teemo. You can see the yellow numbers. We're talking about skewing one direction or another. Definitely skewing in favor of Teemo, almost by 1 kill's worth already there. And you can see that their scoreboards, they're pretty similar, but now with that extra money going into that Mordekaiser's pocket, pretty even now. You can see right there, Bruce using the pool to the advantage. Lots of ways to get away, but Turtle
wants to go in here, pop some damage, doesn't have ult, or does have ult available, but chooses not to use it. Instead, just opting to put more pressure onto Mofu. As now the rest of the squad does back it up. They have a lot of people have based. They've got a lot of gold that they've spent now, and overall, New Valley looking to be a little bit more combat effective. Whereas on the other side, I mean, look at this. ICB, actually, hold that thought. Grooves popped the ultimate onto Monkazu, and that means he does back it up for now. Turtle still on the side. They would want to engage, but no, they see it in the creep. But now here comes ICB around the side. There goes the ultimate. Immediately countered by the pool, but it doesn't matter because while Grooves gets out, Turtle gets left out to dry, and that means it is a pickup on to the jungler once again. ICB looking to be that carrier again.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication perhaps. I think Turtle was trying to protect the Vladimir, not remembering that Vladimir had pull up, probably thought it was still on cooldown and just wanted to provide a little bit of backup. You could see that taunt last long enough to take you from 100 to 0, especially if there is a Renekton to help you out right then and there. Thornmail entirely completed for the Rammus now. Not sure if they're going to opt in for movement speed boots or opting in for that plated steel caps for additional armor. Both options very good for the Rammus now, but you can see in the other lanes, the lead continues to extend. This Teemo getting further and further ahead, forcing the Mordekaiser to leave, but
oh, it takes him to the Shadow Realm. Farash is back over onto the right side. Meanwhile, fight down bot, but it's okay. We'll stay up here in the top as Honu Warrior now blinded up against Mordekaiser, but he's taking a lot of damage. This is what we were talking about. At some point, the Mordekaiser gets strong enough to just all in the Teemo, and there it is. It's a pickup from the top laner from HBA as he picks that one up. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they land the binding onto Turtle. He's going to go in, they'll pick the double hit, but now Grooves chilling in the bush, doesn't even need to get involved. Turtle picks up a kill for himself, and it's 2 versus 5 on the scoreboard.
I do want to point out, Honu Warrior, don't blame him for that death. He flashed the wall, obviously dodges the decimate, but he hoped to hit that shroom right there by the tri-brush. Didn't work out, was out of the realm, but
wait, hold on. We may not be done here. It's Turtle and Grooves trying to get damage onto Mokazu. As instead, Turtle goes in, knows that he's probably going to get dropped, so Hemo Plate gets used as well. Inside Wrath on the left side, gets there, regroups with the team, slowing down onto Mokazu as the Renekton wants to re-engage, but Coconut Man waiting in the rings means that Renekton dares not go no further. Gets rooted up, takes some damage out slow, has to just dice his way out of there. But overall, I mean, still, this game incredibly close with the trades that just keeps happening.
And the kills once again in HBA's favor, but 7-3, you would think a much bigger gold lead, but look at that, less than 1,000. The CS, the creep score, the minions, whatever you like to call it, are proving dividends over and over again. You can see right there in the mid lane, 500 gold difference with the Vladimir having that lead purely off of just farming up these minions. Honu Warrior falling a little bit further behind. Obviously, having the Mythic in the Mordekaiser's hands is a lot better than having a non-Mythic, but Dry Puffin.
Yeah, Insane Wrath does go down again. And now that means it's another tough spot for them to be in because it's another bot lane, like they're starting to roll up again. Yes, the CS lead is there, but if you keep dropping like that, it does mean HBA can start to pull their bot lane ahead. And Aphelios that's up. Oh, never mind. Instead, they're going to go for the Mordekaiser first. They need to clear him before the Rammus gets involved. There goes the Shroom. They're trying to get it. Yes, Diana picks that one up. But now Honu Warrior in trouble. The blind, the taunt, but the Thorn Nail. Oh, that last auto attack ends up sealing the nail in the coffin for Honu Warrior as he gets picked up on the top side. It's a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day.
Oh, man. It's a terrible feeling. You know, the Rammus is chasing you down. Do you auto it to kill it? Do you run away? Rammus doesn't have that move speed reduction anymore while in that defensive ball curl. And so now it's a lot scarier. He's super tanked up and he's running at you at full speed. It hurts a lot more. And so the Teemo trying to kite it out takes a little bit too much damage from that kiting. But the mid all in.
Yeah, Hemo Plague used, not going to do much more against Mokuzu there. But instead, Aphelios goes in, getting a lot of damage onto Insane Wrath. There goes the Enchanted Crystal. They want to regroup here. It's a nice taunt, but it doesn't stop the final spark. Binding lands again! And it's a 2v2 kill in the bot side. HBA pulls ahead here. Turtle wants to turn this around onto Mokuzu, though we're not done yet. Flash out means that will seal that, but great stuff from the bottom side.
You can tell it's personal in the bot lane. Dry Puffin's like, bring your jungler down here again. Let's see how it turns out. Can't take on the 2v2 anymore. That all-in engage with the Aphelios Lux is so powerful. You could see how much damage the Lux does even without needing damage items. The Seraphine just does not provide the same thing. Only Ashe really there for damage, but Ashe is more of a utility aided carry, there for the slows more than for the damage. So it's 2 damage champions versus 2 utility champions. The story kind of writes itself, but now HBA, they're on the dragon. Turtle in the vicinity.
Don't tell me you're thinking about this, man. All right, immediately gets taken to the Shadow Realm from Mordekaiser there. He's taking a lot of damage. Remember, this guy is fairly strong now. Insane Wrath finds out, oh my god, there's a Mordekaiser to my left. He's got to try to get out of there, but a binding might be able to stop him. They pull him into it. Oh, he's going to go down, and now on the left side, the rest of the team in a bit of trouble. They need to get out of there. ICB not going to be able to chase this down just yet, but instead the rest of the squad still wants some. Mordekaiser a little bit faster. It does force out the Proto Belt from Grooves as he gets out of there, but still it's advantage after advantage going over towards HBA.
That one's gonna sting. You know, you don't know how the Mordekaiser fight's gonna go. Just a big old guy just appearing right in front of you after the fight is over, and now you're cornered left and right. That hook into the Lux binding, that was pretty good teamwork. I'm not going to lie. That was pretty good there. But we do have to remember, we're seeing a lot of patterns from game number 1. You know, the scoreline's 13-4. The gold lead is growing there. It's about 3K once again. But we do still have this Vladimir in the mid lane, Grooves. The kind of like pillar foundation holding up New Valley right now. Has been taking blow after blow from this Renekton, but has been standing strong.
Yeah, here we go. Hemo Plague pulls him back in. Moonlight Vigil as well. They're getting a lot of damage. There it goes, and there it is, the pickup from Turtle as they finally close out onto Mokuzu. It takes them all their ultimates, all the skills that they have, but they do pick up a solo kill, so it gives them a little bit more gold back into the pocket. And so far, New Valley, can they hold on? Because like you're saying, can the Vladimir scale to a point where he is nigh unkillable?
Could happen. It takes a couple items, 3 or 4 to make it happen, but taking this Renekton down over and over again, look at how the kills are going. They're all going to Diana. It's keeping Diana relevant enough to impact the side lanes and, you know, kind of be a menace in that department. But not only that, the Vladimir with excellent wave clear gets the entire lane to himself, pushes it out, could start using that Predator to look to roam, but the Rammus trying to see if he can do anything about it. It's going to be really hard to gank of Vladimir, but it does force out the flash.
Oh, it's another root there. Coconut Man gets saved by the minion wave as he once again has to get pushed back. There is no turret here, but the vision actually not in favor of HBA. If they stay, they could be in a little bit of trouble. See what the call ends up being. They don't know that Turtle's around right now. And if they push past the turret line, you've got to imagine Diana's going in. And it looks like, yep, they've fallen into the trap. Here comes Turtle around the backside. They're going to re-engage now, but it doesn't matter. Finds the damage. Arrow onto the Lux to make sure he doesn't have any support. And that means New Valley picks up 2. The shutdown. 1 to the Ash, 1 to the Diana. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Gruz has to force it back. Fights the 2v1, but they are just too tanky for him to get anything underneath the turret. It's still a great play from New Valley.
Amazing play from New Valley. This Diana staying relevant, like we were saying. That mid kill into the 2 in the bottom lane immediately has a bounty on her head, but ultimately very well deserved. Oh.
ICB will get the taunt here, as now Holy Warrior underneath the bush, but this is where that Teemo does have an advantage. And now the Mordekaiser has to fight him, but can't fight him underneath the turret per se. Looking for another claw, another hook, but doesn't end up pulling him in. As for now, with the support of Turtle, Holy Warrior should be able to pick up the rest of this wave.
And this Diana getting further and further ahead. Still, the Rammus is decently ahead. Opted in for Sork Shoes. I don't think I've ever seen a Rammus with an offensive boots before, but he's definitely feeling himself. ICB is up there and running, but Mythic's now coming online from both sides. Both of the mid laners, both of the AD carries now have their items. Both of the supports even. And Seraphine, like we were saying, a bit of utility, opting in for the healing item there. The Moonstone keeping their allies well-freshed, well-alive. But both AD carries opting in for that Gale Force is going to be pretty interesting here.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice. I mean, more so from the Ashe, knowing that you're going to need to cut through a Rammus at some point in the game. I'm curious what that decision is, but instead the double root goes in. Blinding immediately gets forced out, but it does still hit onto Coconut Man. He's going to have to flash as well. But Dry Puffin, has he gone too far forward? Flashes there, damage out, but Gale Force back as well. Instant Wrath wants to get the damage out. The binding lands again, but nobody going down just yet. They're all just playing it safe. They don't want to overcommit to these kills, to this damage. Meanwhile, ICB in the bushes waiting for this fight is in mid lane. They once again burn a lot of cooldowns, a lot of damage onto Mokuzu. Nobody goes down across the map. Junglers trying to exert influence where they can. And as it stands, now here comes ICB around the backside, going in onto Coconut Man. We'll get that one. Dodge out on the binding. Insane Wrath trying to just dodge, dip, duck, and dive, but he doesn't dodge out in the end, and he can't get out of there, and that means he's gone as well. 7-15 on the board.
HBA are clearly playing to their advantage. They've been playing on that bottom side for 2 games in a row now. They know that bot lane is a very good win condition. New Valley, they like playing with the side lanes. Look at that.
Yeah, ICB in a 2v1 now, though. It looks like he will be just getting out, but it's a nice trade back. And it looks like New Valley knows their win con. They're not playing for their side lanes. They're not playing for even their jungler to a degree. They're playing for the Vladimir. Get the pressure down. Make sure that he's strong enough. As, oh no, bottom lane walks up, but have they walked into a bad fight? Dry Puffin gets taken out there from Gruz. Here comes Turtle diving down at the Cypher. He's going to try to get out, but the binding can't get out in time. Damage is there, and it's another 2 kills over to the jungle and mid lane.
That jungle and mid lane dual synergy is building. It is mounting. New Valley are awoken in this game. Having the jungler B-Fed is so important because of the neutral objective. We mentioned the Rhombus looking one, stacking attack speed. The ocean one is for life. The mountain one is for sturdiness. The sturdier this Diana and this Vladimir are, the harder and harder it is going to get to kill them in the late game. We already talked about how Vladimir can be unkillable. Imagine being unkillable New Game Plus.
I mean, pretty much, right? It goes from he just heals everything, and any damage we do, the health bar just goes back up, to now we can't even get the health bar down in the first place, and he still heals it back up. And that's going to be scary, because imagine if this goes the other way, right? If it's a Rammus, Mordekaiser, Renekton with Mountain Drake buffs on them, good luck. It doesn't matter what you're doing as New Valley. You are just not going to be able to kill them on the other side. Whereas now, with this on New Valley's side, there's a window opening, right? There's a path to victory that is starting to appear, right? The walkway, the mist is clear, or the fog is clearing as they see the way they take us to map 3. And it really does lie with Turtle, with Grooves. They need to be able to get the advantage, to be strong enough to just pop anybody on their side. Meanwhile, ICB up in the top side wants to go on to Honu Warrior, looking for the damage there. There's the taunt, there's the damage. Remember, he's blinded up right now. Honu Warrior trying to get out, but instead it doesn't matter. It looks like ICB will just solo that one out at the end of the day, as that damage actually, that's why you're seeing the Stork Shoes. His ult, he's using it for ult and the taunt damage.
That is true. That is true. The Spike Shell does mean that, you know, auto attacks done by Rammus are magic damage. And so I think each of those is proccing the magic pen like you're saying. The turret naturally falls on the side of New Valley. And now Mordekaiser being circled by some sharks.
Oh, let's see this now. There's a 2v2. Mordekaiser uses the ultimate onto the Diana. Meanwhile, Grooves has to 1v1 onto ICB. Props the pool, but meanwhile, take a look on the right side. The Diana might be able to win this one with a little bit more damage. Can they take on their individual 1v1s? No, Diana loses it in the top, and Grooves is now going to drop it as well in the river. The 2v2, but the 1v1s goes the way of Hawaii Baptist Academy, and that could be Baron.
How do you kill the dynamic duo? You split them apart, and Mordekaiser is perfect for that. Mid jungle gone. The two strongest members of New Valley gone, and that just means this is going to be a clear as day Baron for Hawaii Baptist Academy. 5 men strong. They're all going to get it. And you thought the Mordekaiser was the winning lane. You thought Dry Puffin and Cypher were winning lane. They're going to be pushing that aggression now with this newfound buff.
Yeah, and that exactly is what we seem to be going down right now. They are pushing their advantage. Now they're starting to grow the gold lead. It's still only 4,000, something we saw last time out. But you've got to remember that this time around, ICB is tanky again with damage again. Yeah, he's no Hecarim, but he's okay because he can sustain now through all of the damage that New Valley throws at him. He was killable before, and now as the Rammus, it's going to be a lot harder for them to take him down.
I definitely think that is going to be the case, and with the next Dragon coming out very, very soon, could be a tipping point in the match. We saw the team fight, well, we saw that go prior to the team fight. It was actually very, very close. It was only like 1-2K apart. Taking Baron gives you 1,500 gold right off the bat, so that's where the rest of that is coming in, but New Valley, they're not that far behind.
Oh no, they're about to walk into ICB once again. The flash, the heal, they're just trying to get out of there. They slow them, they throw the arrow, they throw everything but the kitchen sink just to get themselves away from these two very scary members over on Hawaii Baptist Academy. And it's another kill on the top side. Honu Warrior, again, not able to survive against this matchup for too much longer, as now ICB goes over, finds Turtle. Here's Grooves in the bush. Will he opt to support him? This time it's another 2v2, but it's not the Mordekaiser this time. Mokuzu, though, pops the dominance, means that he gets all that extra health, and the rest of the squad has to regroup. Turtle finds himself alone, but the rest of the squad not looking to get involved in this fight, and that means Diana about to drop here right as well. The rest of the squad there to back him up. Dry Puffin picks it up at the end of the day, and with that Diana gone, and with Dragon spawning soon, you'd imagine that this is now going to be another one for HBA. Oh no, they're not done. They don't have flashes this time. They don't have summoners. It's just going to be the Seraphine wiped off the mat as Mokuzu picks up that one.
Man, you're right. ICB, Sonic, Lightning McQueen, these are just all the same person with different aliases. We've seen ICB just charge into the enemy bot lane time and time again. We've been seeing New Valley draft these immobile bot lanes time and time again. They thought that the Gale Force was going to save them. The Ashe swapped to a Kraken Slayer mid-game. And that puts you behind like 700 gold as is, not to mention that you're getting further and further behind because of the game state. And now, with control and the base open, they can start bleeding out New Valley's resources and taking everything. But hold on.
Hold the phone. Yeah, it's a one-on-one Turtle. wanted to fight the Mordekaiser up outside the base, but it looks like instead, no, the call is going to be for them to just re-engage. Honu Warrior now taking a lot of damage to slow up the damage. Mordekaiser just a bit too tanky, does a bit too much damage. Can Turtle even get out? No, the claw not going to pull him back in. Cruz wants to go for this one now. They might get the shutdown here. It's another scrap shield, meaning that he stays alive for a little bit longer. They're still trying to chase him out. There it is, shutdown onto Cruz as he picks up that one. It's a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, but while all that was happening, HBA picks up the Dragon.
The amount of damage that the Mordekaiser does while still being a health tank is very, very scary, and it's something that New Valley, they have to keep in mind of, because not only does the Mordekaiser do that, the Renekton, the Rammus, all three of these big beefy people also are capable of doing that. And if you look at the objective bounties across the board, they're readily available for the side of New Valley, the third pounders, to take it. But look at where they're located. The closest one would be that bot lane outer turret, but after that, they have to go deep into enemy territory just to get that extra objective bounty.
Yeah, they have to do all of that just to get themselves there and to get through it. We'll see what ends up being the case as we move forward. 45K on the side of New Valley, 51,000 gold in the bank for HBA. They've got the tools they need to close this one out. We'll just see what happens as they finish strong. 8-1-5 on ICB right now. 7-3-3 on the top laner, who unnamed for us right now. He's using an HPU account as he needs to. Something about the login, I can't remember what they were telling me before in the pregame, but it's all right because he is doing work. The top side of the map this time being that second fiddle to this play, as now here comes ICB around the side, pops the ghost, oh my god, gets over the wall, big damage onto Cruz, and there's no damage onto ICB. Final Spark puts a lot of damage onto the Ashe. Insigne's gonna go down, Turtle's gonna be dropping next, they're gonna chase him out, he's trying to distract them, but he's in the Shadow Realm with Mordekaiser, he's gonna get dropped. Cruz has to try to chase out, it's a flash, root, binding, the combo, the wombo, they take them all in. HBA pulls off everybody down, only the Seraphine back on the bottom side. Honu Warrior in the top, but that might not matter because it's an open inhib. They've got 2 minions, and it could be HBA on the victory march.
The Mordekaiser can definitely tank for these minions. Just walk ahead of it, tank, and let the minions... Oh, but they're going to go for the
Coconut
Seraphine.
Man. Okay. Or not. Never mind.
Not.
Goodbye.
Nope.
It was nice knowing you, my friend, but it looks like that will be it. HBA will move on to the finals to play the winner of the other New Valley School going up against Eva Mackay Middle School. Congratulations, HBA. We'll see you in the finals.
GG!
Oh, Turtle?
Turtle?
Turtle wants it. 1. Okay, yeah, that was it.
He broke even. 7-7, broke even.
Well done there from the side.